Hi, everybody. Welcome to the LF Energy Spring Summit. Whether it's your morning, your afternoon, or your evening, I hope that you'll enjoy the day today. I want to first of all thank our sponsors. I want to thank the CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. Since the very beginning of LF Energy, CNCF has been a tremendous supporter of ours. I think that when you think about distributed energy, we really also have to recognize that distributed energy requires distributed computing. And so CNCF is really one of our ground zeros. Another ground zero for us, and I really want to thank the LFAI and Data Foundation. Ibrahim Haddad, the executive director, has been a great sponsor and supporter of LF Energy. I want to thank LFAI and Data for joining us, and their support has been tremendous in making LF Energy possible. I also want to thank our LF Energy members. RTE has been our founding member. Oleander immediately came in behind RTE, and together they have really provided the kind of strategic governance and direction for LF Energy. I want to thank our general members, our latest members, Sony, Zadida, Statnet. All of these companies have really enabled LF Energy to be possible, and our associate members. We have some great research and academic organizations that have supported LF Energy and provided us with all kinds of benefit. Thank you all. We are here for you. I want to thank our LF Energy Governing Board, our chair, Lucian Balea, our treasurer, Ariane Stam, our general member, Representative Daniel Lazaro, and our TAC chair, technical advisory chair, Jonas van den Boggaard. All of you meet, we almost meet anywhere from 2 to 3 times a month. You have been tremendous support to making LF Energy happen and provided the direction and steering and governance for us. And I want to thank the LF Energy Spring Summit 2021 Program Committee. This committee has been incredibly important. It's been really an evolutionary leap for us. We went from doing all of the curating of the events ourselves for the previous 2 summits to this time putting out a call for proposals. So this event would not have been possible without this group of folks. Benoit Jensen, Judith Scheffenbauer, Lucian Balea, Naveen Goswami, Gianluca Dionys, and Ken Delaney. Thank you very much for your time, your energy, your perceptive thinking to help curate this program. And I want to thank you to our speakers. As of today, a week before the event, we have 41 speakers from 10 countries and 43 sessions. Thank you very much for taking your time, for caring, and for helping to make LF Energy Summit 2021 successful. And I want to thank you for taking the time for joining us. Today, as I am recording this, you have representatives from 18 different countries and growing. By leaps and bounds, actually, every minute we have folks who are signing up. And so thank you very much for joining us. LF Energy is a global initiative, and we are a global community. And I want to thank you to our LF Energy projects. Really, the Linux Foundation is a code-first community. And what that means is that, first and foremost, we are about the code, the software, and what we've gone from 6 projects to 12 projects in 1 year. And I would imagine that it's very possible in 2021 that we will probably double our software again. What that means is that at our TAC and within our technical communities, we are working very hard to develop capacity, to develop the maturity to be able to run modern day software and software communities. So thank you very much to all of our projects. Our 3 newest projects are Hyphy, Pledge Power, and Swanyo, all of which we released in January. So we are really moving forward. Please go to the website and take a look at all of the software has a web page on it. You can get the You see where the GitHub is, where the code is. You can join the mailing list, find out where the wiki is, see the videos about the software. So that's the thing to do. And I want to thank the Linux Foundation. I want to thank my team, John Murdoch, Lindsay Gendreau, and Carly Driggers, who help make every day happen. And I want to thank Celia Stamp and Shannon Jesse from the events crew, who have made this event possible. Thank you very much to everyone. So the Linux Foundation, LF Energy gets its DNA from the Linux Foundation. And so it's really important to understand what the Linux Foundation is. And from my perspective, as someone whose academic background really is in innovation, I think that the Linux kernel is one of the greatest diffusion stories, collaboration stories of collective investment on the planet. And what we've done at the Linux Foundation is take that and then apply it to 425 new projects. Oftentimes people will ask me, what is the business case for open source? I think it really depends on where it is that you're coming from. Probably the most important is interoperability, security, a neutral environment, enabling collective investment, better products, better software, sharing the costs, and a neutral environment that allows for collaboration and cross-pollination. Thank you very much for engaging with us around open source. Some of you are new to open source, and I'm hoping that today that you're going to learn about the benefits and the values of what it means to be part of an open source community. In case you were wondering, this is a really tremendous document that you can go to. It's about software-defined vertical industries. We released it last year. So you can search for this, or you can go to the Linux Foundation website. The part that I really want everyone to understand, particularly those of you that are coming from organizations that are considering open source, is that really top quartile companies in innovation, those that have adopted open source have 3 times the impact on their innovation cycles. And what that means is through speed, accelerated products development, security, innovation, all of those things. So take a look at this paper. I think that it will provide you with a lot of what you need in order to be able to speak to your leadership and your colleagues about open source and how to value it. Open source isn't slowing down anytime soon. We're just about to hit that uptake, that hockey stick. So what we've seen is a lot of innovation, and I think that there's probably something like 30 or 40 million GitHub sites now. That is going to exponentially grow. So within that context, LF Energy has been created in order to support a 21st century plan of decarbonization. We're doing this through open source, open frameworks, reference architectures, and a support system of ecosystem of complementary projects. I often start my presentation with this slide because I think it's important that all of us understand the sensitivity of what it is that we're trying to do. If we remove fossil fuel and CO2 emissions in order to stabilize our climate, the challenge is going to be without having the global wealth actually precipitously decline. LF Energy is really at the heart, is about supporting the transformation of our global economies through decarbonization and through electrification. If we remove carbon from our power, buildings, transportation systems, that will provide us with 75% of the CO2 emissions that we need. What we find is that because we only have 10 years to really fundamentally move this transformation, we have to look at, so what is the cycle? How are we going to do this? And first and foremost is the transformation of power systems. And that's what we're doing here, because behind power systems is automotive, is buildings and trucking, and then the rest of our economy. And this is 75% of the decarbonization is power, cars, and buildings. So that is what LF Energy's mandate is, that's what our mission is, and that's what we're seeking to accomplish. But unfortunately, for anyone who's spent much time in the utility environment, what we recognize is we've got a log jam, and log jams, we don't have a lot of log jams on the planet anymore. But when we did have log jams, the only way that we could get the river moving again was through dynamite. So what do I think the dynamite is that we're actually need to throw into the river right now? I believe that it's open source, and I believe that it's what we're doing here. For 150 years, the power grid has mostly been a one-way flow of electricity and a one-way flow of information. The current state is that we are in a process of transforming our infrastructure and transforming the services that we use to manage and deliver those services. But the software and the automation that enables that is really fragmented and disjointed. This is the direction that we need to be moving in, is towards interoperability, automation, virtualization, and the choreography of our assets within the infrastructure. And what we need to be able to do is network electrons. Electrons are physical entities. It's not like a packet. It is a physical thing that needs to have some kind of a surface to be transferred on. And that when we talk about networking electrons, what we're really talking about is networking the metadata about electrons. And in actually networking that metadata, you know what we're doing? We're creating a tsunami of data. And so this is kind of like every operator's worst fear, is that they're sitting in front of their screens and what's coming at them is a kind of data that they can't even imagine. And in the process of actually electrifying and creating all that data, we are also increasing the amount of electricity that we're using. And so we have to be smart about this. And I would actually make a call out to any of the infrastructure companies. One of my most important projects that I would like to get going in 2021 is really a data center project, because competing on decarbonization of data centers, actually, it really can't be a competitive advantage. It has to become a global standard, and we have to do this very quickly, because as we really introduce this tsunami of high velocity data, high volume data into our power systems and our transportation networks, it is going to exponentially increase the amount of data centers we need and how we're going to manage them. So we're building a grid that is beyond the ability to intellectually manage, which means that, you know, it's not like for an operator, you can have those 12 screens and then you can add another 12 screens and expect that a human being can pay attention to 24 sources of information. We have to be able to come up with a better model for how we're going to do this. And our colleagues from the Danish PSO, EnergyNet, apologies there, 50% of the effort of the energy transition is digital. This was something that they declared last year, and I think that that's probably true. And what we've discovered at the Linux Foundation is that 80% of the software will be open source. And so I use this image of a napkin because if we did this back of the napkin calculation, that really represents 40% of the decarbonization effort is going to be open source. So what is happening at the Linux Foundation and with LF Energy is essential in terms of the momentum for decarbonization. But unfortunately, the dominant paradigm is still and continues to be isolation and going it alone. That's no longer viable. We need mass collaboration. Like these starling murmurs, we need to find ways to move together in concerted effort. So a couple of years ago, we had a group of architects from all over the world get together and actually think about how to represent the grid of the future. I'm going to just take a couple more minutes to do this, because I think that it sets a context for what LF Energy is about. What they did was that they broke the grid into these five kind of facets, and think of this as a taxonomy. And this is what is at the very top of that taxonomy. Going down, what you see are the next level of buckets. And the part that I really want you to focus on, all of this is on our documentation, you can find this on the website, is that this represents the framework of our application catalog. Like most projects, many different umbrella projects, part of what we're doing is creating an application catalog sitting on top of a data and services infrastructure in order to be able to then sit on top of the hardware, bare metal, and the information that's coming in from the edge. And so this application catalog, we are just beginning to work on this. And within that context, these blue boxes really are where you would see the power system network operations of the future, or what used to be called the control room. And so our efforts in 2021 are really to focus on this control room, this power system network operation. Our current environment right now is that you have the application catalog on the top, you have data and services in the middle, and you have the semantic models and the configuration tools that will enable us to begin to wholesale move towards cloud-based SCADA and a kind of high velocity, high volume environment. And there you see at the bottom, you see the end user edge, which is a dedicated and operated edge, and then a utility edge, which is a shared and kind of application services. You see that happening at the bottom. It's bringing it all in from the edge, both microgrids, demand response, substations, hardware. Those are our initial projects in that area. Pledge Power is a multi-protocol gateway that allows that data to get up into an environment that can be, a data lake, both real-time and also near-time data, and then a set of application catalogs on top. This is where we're going. The things that are labeled Q2 2021, those are projects that we see coming in. We really welcome you to get involved with LF Energy and to understand more about the projects. You'll be able to see go to the operator fabric or Swanyo or Possible or Pledge Power, all of them, CPath, HiFi, Open Leader, all are actually going to be doing sessions in the next 5 hours. So please go and take a look, find out about it, watch the videos, join the mailing list. We are actively open community and looking for you to join us. So get connected, go to the LF Energy community page, and you'll find everything about our Twitter, LinkedIn, mailing, GitHubs, how to find the wiki. Get connected. That's the heart of LF Energy. This is my information. I'm going to be around throughout the day, throughout the European and North America day, and throughout the North America and Asia and Australia day. Please, that's my information. I am happy to meet with people during this time. Enjoy yourselves, enjoy what we've created. Thank you very much to everybody, the program committee, the governing board, the projects, the Lennox Foundation, the events crew, and most of all, our sponsors. Thank you very much and enjoy yourselves.